All right, let's hear it for Vivi.
Thank you, Kyle. Hi, everyone. I know this is the last panel before the drinks and the dinner. Oh, Charlie, hi. Okay, without further ado, let's welcome our panelist, Charlie from BitLayers, my old friend and flew all the way from everywhere in the world, and Jhon, BEVM, welcome, and Adrian from RSK, and Janusz. How do you pronounce your name? Oh, Janusz. Janusz, welcome.
Check.
Okay, so my name is Vivi. I think you know a lot about Omnity, and we are also a Bitcoin Layer 2 enabler connecting any chain to Bitcoin, and we are proudly built on ICP and powered by chain fusion technology. So, okay, we know that Bitcoin Layer 2 scalability issue is one of the hardest issues in the Bitcoin ecosystem. We've seen a lot of progress and also challenges, but thanks to the innovators like those on our panel, and probably a lot of them sitting in the audience today, we never stop trying. So, okay, to kick off, how about we start with a brief introduction about who you are and your project, and also what inspired you to build in the Bitcoin ecosystem. Let's start from Jhon.
Okay, so hey guys, thanks for the invitation. Here is Jhon from BEVM, one of the co-founders. So actually, we started our Bitcoin Layer 2 journey since 2017, because at that time we know that Gavin Wood, he just left the Ethereum Foundation and created the substrate. So based on substrate, we created our first Bitcoin Layer 2 named ChainX. It is a awesome compatible Bitcoin Layer 2. And at that time, there is no fundraising for ChainX. So it is our first project, more like just for fun. So you can directly bridge your Bitcoin to ChainX, then you can mine the token and deposit the token into the validators. So we easily reached 100,000 Bitcoin deposited in ChainX. But the problem is that at that time there is no taproot. So which means we can just deposit the Bitcoin into a multi-signature address. But this address is only protected by limited custodians, just 11 custodians. So actually it is too dangerous and centralized for us. Yeah, so we stopped the bridge from the Bitcoin network to ChainX and let the Bitcoin wheels and also the exchanges to withdraw their Bitcoin back. Yeah, and also at the end of 2021, there is Taproot upgrade. So based on Taproot, we think maybe we can create a more decentralized cross-chain mechanism and a custodian solution based on Schnorr's signature. So we started to do that. In 2022, we finished that, but the marketing, it is a bear market on account of Luna and FTX. Nobody cares about the Bitcoin ecosystem. Actually, we spent 1 year to public articles about how Taproot can change the world, how Taproot can realize the more decentralized Bitcoin Layer 2, but nobody cares. But things changed last year on account of the inscriptions. So we found there is inscriptions. It is one of the new Bitcoin assets on the Bitcoin network. So we created a free inscription platform named Bitbox. And 20% of sites, one of the most famous inscriptions, were inscribed by using our platform. So we think, oh, maybe this is the best timing to do a Bitcoin Layer 2 again. So this time we created BEVM. Yeah, and for BEVM, we launched our mainnet at the end of March this year. So now it has more than 5 million on-chain transactions with more than 800,000 accounts. So one of the problems we are thinking about is how to different BEVM with other Bitcoin Layer 2s in a long term. So we talked with Bitmain, the biggest mining services provider, and also we are the only Bitcoin Layer 2 invested by them. So now the core business strategy of BEVM is to tokenize the Bitcoin hash rate. We wanted to do the tokenization so that for the Bitcoin miners and also the retail users, you can buy in the hash rate token to experience all of the derivatives on BEVM. Yeah, so Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the story. Yeah, BVM is also our partner with Omnity, and you are backed by Bitmain, right? So like you said, so I think your persistence paid off, and looking forward to know more. Charlie.
Oh, so that was one of the longest self intro ever. I try to make it short. Okay. Jhon basically described what happened last 6 years. We had some interesting interaction. So I was the person who kind of helped Gavin Wood on the early stage of Polkadot. I was his translator, interpreter for 3 years. Parachain didn't work out. I joined Polygon, became the head of APAC 2021, worked there for 1.5 years. EVM world was interesting. We had some interesting DeFi gaming NFT summer. Got disappointed on this, fragmented liquidity and all the other issues on Ethereum layer 2, and jump on the Orange team since last year. All of those was very interesting. So pretty much all the BRC20, Bitcoin, primitive, like parent-child inscription, recursive inscription, bitmap, rare sets, I was pretty on top of that. And then one thing happened in the Bitcoin ecosystem. That was last year, September, during Ordinal Summit in Singapore. Domo and Casey had this debate during the speaker launch, and I was witnessing that. Two gentlemen was debating in front of me. We're talking a lot about all this garbage UTXO generating on Bitcoin layer 1, people paying huge gas fees. And it gets me thinking, is this the Bitcoin ecosystem we want to design for the long run? Is this what we want for the Bitcoin, right? We need scaling solutions. And of course, that was kind of gets me thinking, what we can do to scale Bitcoin? Either go off-chain or go for layer 2s, or the other way to achieve Bitcoin finality. And then we found out BEVM, and we started doing research since last November. And we started BitLayers around that time. So far, we launched on mainnet 3 months ago, and I think we've been working actively on the BVM 2 version with the Bitcoin-friendly stock. Hopefully, we're going to launch the V2 version mainnet in the upcoming months. We're one of the first Bitcoin project invested by Bitcoin ETF firm Franklin Templeton. We're talking to a few other institutions as well. I think this cycle is a lot about institution figure out their Bitcoin strategy. We got a lot of retail, a lot of community people use our chain for all kinds of things already, around 200 projects in the ecosystem. But looking forward to see how to scale Bitcoin in the new ways. Yeah.
Thank you, Charlie. So I have to add that Charlie has been a long-term friend. We know each other, and Charlie has been one of the most active person in the Web3 ecosystem. Like you said, he brought Polkadot, and then Cosmos, and all this ecosystem to China. And now, congratulations for the Franklin Templeton's investment.
By the way, Omnity Network is our ecosystem partner as well. Yeah, shout out for that.
Yes. Okay. We are very, very happy to build in this ecosystem together. Adrian.
All right. Thanks. And hey, everyone. My name is Adrian, and I'm co-founder of Rootstock. Rootstock is an EVM compatible sidechain for Bitcoin. Actually, it was the first first sidechain that was ever launched back in 2018. A little bit of my journey and how we got to build Rootstock. Basically, I got into Bitcoin around 2014, around that time with some friends and colleagues in Argentina that were already interested in the space, in Bitcoin. In Argentina, we are very used to being screwed by governments and politicians and banks. So everyone gets interested about technologies like Bitcoin very easily. So that's how I got into Bitcoin. And we were a group of builders, and we wanted to build something that could help people back in Argentina, Latin America, a lot of people that are underbanked or unbanked. But in our view, that had to be built on top of Bitcoin. There was no other good idea of why would you compete with Bitcoin and not build on Bitcoin. But back in the day, it was very hard to build on Bitcoin. So there were no tools or anything that could be used to build basic DeFi primitives that we wanted to provide. So we basically decided to build the tools ourselves. So that's when we started building Rootstock, which, as I said, was launched early 2018.
That's great. And then now, Rootstock has been one of the most secure smart contract, Bitcoin smart contract sidechain in the world. Is that
it's
secure
proven.
by over 50% of the
Yeah, that's one of the strengths of the network. For security, it's kind of a complex thing. It's not fair to say that there is one single metric that defines the security of a complex system, like all these platforms. But well, that's one of those, and yeah, that's we've had a lot of support from the mining industry, a lot of Chinese mining pools from early days, and currently the hash rate of the network is around 60% of the Bitcoin hash rate. Yeah.
Interesting. We're going to talk more about the security later on. And Janusz.
Yeah, my name's Janusz. I work on a project called Bitcoin Layers, and we are essentially doing write-ups and risk assessments on the various proposed Bitcoin L2 solutions. Motivation to do that was I am very interested in a concept called validity rollups on Bitcoin. I want the ability to enter systems trustlessly with Bitcoin L1, enter and exit trustlessly with Bitcoin L1 transactions. I think validity rollups are a path to get there. And I care about privacy, and to enable, really robust privacy solutions, they need to be built on decentralized architectures. So that's why we're looking at all these sidechain protocols that are promising this kind of dream of trustless scalability, and we're trying to suss out what's actually going on under the hood. So we do a lot of different reviews on a lot of different stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Bitcoin Layers provides a really good data and research for the whole Bitcoin Layer 2 scalability domain. So with all the achievements that you've done, you had, I would like to ask you, what is your perspective on the most, the biggest challenges and also opportunities in this scalability domain, and obviously how your project is addressing these challenges and also prepare yourself for the opportunities?
Yeah, so actually for us, I think the most difficult problem is how to ensure the security of users' access, because the Bitcoin wheels, if they want to experience a Bitcoin Layer 2, they need to trust your mechanism, including where their Bitcoin is deposited in, and also how to realize the decentralized bridge. So that's why we spent more than 7 years to do that. So before Taproot upgrade, the biggest challenge is that we can just use limited custodians to hold the user, to protect users' access. It is still too centralized for us. But after Taproot upgrade, because we have Schnorr signatures, so we can do that in a more decentralized way. So it can support up to 1,000 custodians. So this is the first. And the second, about the user's experience part. Before Taproot upgrade, when user withdraw assets, we needed the custodians to sign and approve the transaction manually, so it will take a longer time. Yeah, but it is very bad for users. But now after the Taproot upgrade, we can use Mocha abstract snacks tree to realize a decentralized withdrawal, because we can use it to make the custodians to sign and approve the transaction automatically. So now if you are using BEVM mainnet, you can realize withdrawal just within 30 minutes after 3 block confirmations on the Bitcoin network. So this is what we think is the challenge. And about opportunity, so because we have already realized that the more decentralized bridge and the custodian part, so we are trying to launch a SDK we call the BEVM stack, which enable developers to based on the mechanism to launch their own Bitcoin Layer 2. And I think 2 days ago, we helped the SETS community to launch their own Bitcoin Layer 2 based on our architecture. Yeah. Also, in the near future, we will help some mining pools to launch their own Bitcoin Layer 2 by using our architecture. Yeah.
That's great. Charlie?
I think the challenge right now, putting aside the technology side, we're still work in progress to achieve Bitcoin finality with real native Layer 2. This common goal, I don't think really any of the infrastructure really achieved that yet in terms of trust minimized bridge and Bitcoin finality with Bitcoin verification. There's still a lot of things that are settled around, not in Bitcoin Layer 1 yet. We've been seeing interesting proposals. We're working on that as well on the fraud proof route with BVM2 version and a ZK stock. And so there's several solutions we see they're using ZK stock with validity proof, which require opcat upgradation, which is going to take a while, right? All these debates been talking about for a while across many different topics and panels. But I think I want to talk about the real challenge in the Bitcoin ecosystem right now is lack of education and a lack of interesting products to use. At the end of the day, it's about product market fit. Why people want to bridge them native Bitcoin to the new programmable trustless environment for what kind of use case, right? What is the demand? The demand for what? Like all of those open up this interesting paradox of, we creating interesting assets on Bitcoin layer 1, but burning a lot of gas and we generate a lot of garbage UTXO just kind of floating around Bitcoin layer 1, right? That's interesting for speculation purpose. But what was the fundamental sustainable demand? We don't really know that, right? Now mention layer 2. So we've been chatting about that at like Bitcoin DeFi for a while with all kinds of yield opportunities, right? Across like stable coins, lendings, restaking. But I think there's still a very limited amount of real use cases hitting very interesting critical mass of product market fit. So that's the first challenge, I think, in terms of if we talk about scaling Bitcoin to achieve real Bitcoin ecosystem. At the end of the day, whatever solution you build, nobody wants to use it. That's meaningless, at least for me. The opportunity right now is, I think we're going to eat up a lot of the market share in the Ethereum layer 2. I personally know at least 20 Ethereum layer 2. My friends still working on a lot of the layer 2s in Ethereum. They're sitting and stuck in this, like Solana is eating up a lot of their market share because of the hyper scalability solution. And Bitcoin, because of the Bitcoin culture and the Bitcoin liquidity, and now we are building Bitcoin programmable environment. A lot of Ethereum people are entering the Bitcoin space, right? So how we eat up those market share and developers is the asymmetric potential we have.
Yeah, I think Jhon and Charlie painted like a really nice picture. Like apart from the technical difficulties and challenges, and there's also the challenge of product market fit, the real adoption, right? And Adrian, what do you think?
Yeah. So due to my background, like my first thoughts are probably aligning with Jhon. Like you think of technical challenges, like the first thing that comes to my mind. But I really agree with what Charlie was saying about use cases. I mean, if there is no real use case, there is no reason to build all these Bitcoin layers. And to add to that, I think that the challenge, and I guess we are all facing the same challenges and opportunity at the same time. It's about building a community, building a developer community around Bitcoin. Other ecosystems have been more successful than Bitcoin to build this developer community. It's great to see so many new projects and innovation coming and excitement again around Bitcoin. So it's also an opportunity seeing so many bright minds coming to Bitcoin now. So I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges and opportunities right now.
Yeah, thank you, Adrian. And Janusz, how about from your perspective? You're coming from more of like an observer of the whole space, right? So like, what is your take?
Yeah, so I think like to get like the serious kind of attention and mind share of very prominent builders and applications, etc. I think we need to be a little bit more honest about the shortcomings of our current systems. I think we also need to be very careful about kind of advertising and promoting things that have turned out to be like outright scams. So if you see a lot of like the stuff that's being shared on Twitter, like a lot of the very popular Bitcoin L2 lists, they're listing things like this thing called ZK Sats, which is supposedly a ZK rollup, but then just stole a bunch of user deposits. And these types of things are on all these prominent Bitcoin L2 lists and Bitcoin L2 landscape ecosystem, and we're building ZK rollups. And it's like, okay, maybe let's park the brakes a little bit and kind of actually figure out what's going on and really contribute to things that are worthwhile and teams trying to do really cool stuff, like the teams that are working on BitVMX, BitVM2, teams trying to work in like true sovereign rollups that are on top of Bitcoin. Like I think these kind of shortcomings in these current systems, like we're kind of just glossing over everything and we're like, Bitcoin season 2 is here, and like we haven't even figured out the bridging problem yet. Like no one's figured it out, and I don't know why we're kind of acting like we're gonna go take all this market share away from Ethereum and try to like get all this mind share and all these other ecosystems when we just have like prominent scams being shared on everything across the internet. So sorry for like the hot take, but that's kind of
No,
how
I think
feel.
that's a great point because actually Charlie touched upon that as well. And I think in the Bitcoin conference, I mean in the main venue, and that's one panel. They said, what is the missing ring for the Bitcoin adoption, right? So what is the thing that is missing? And obviously the whole Web3 space is facing that challenge as well. So it doesn't really make sense if we can't really see the real kind of adoption or like the product market fit when we talk about the scaling solutions, right? So I would like to stay on this topic of adoption. And so apart from obviously the transactions and all that, and what do you think is critical for adoption or the opportunities for real adoption in real use cases from your perspective?
So to continue with Janusz' comments, one of the things that thankfully there is a lot of teams working on a similar problem, probably different flavors or different ways to basically attack this problem. Is about breaching and how you make that breach between layers the most decentralized we can. Of course, there is some limitations coming from the Bitcoin scripting language, but there's been so many good news lately. It's still a long journey, but as Charlie was saying, and Jhon as well, there's they are working on the BEVM2, and we are working on BEVMX, different flavors to basically be able to execute any arbitrary computation on Bitcoin in a more decentralized way. And in our case, I guess it's the same for you guys. The ultimate goal is to be able to build this more decentralized bridge, although it will not be like fully decentralized, but at least as much trust minimized as we can. I think that's one of the big challenges and one of the things that excites me more currently in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
But I think a big part of it as well, like to build on that, right, is like which applications need to be decentralized, right? Like let's say we figure out this bridging problem. Like BitLayers working on it really extensively. I know like there's Rootstock Labs that are actively contributing to this as well. Like once you figure that part out, then you have to think about like what applications need decentralized block producers. Can you decentralize the prover? And like when you are looking at this like future application ecosystem, you have to actually look at like the reason Ethereum is in this rut, and like you mentioned, Charlie, that all the Solana like activity is like booming right now is because Ethereum is in this like infra mindset where they're just developing like 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 modular DA layers, and you don't need that. So it's like, what applications are we actually trying to like build with these systems, and then look at like the bare minimum infra we need to get those things off the ground, and then we can start thinking about like taking away the market share from like Arbitrum optimism. Like you're not competing with each other, you're competing with Arbitrum.
Yeah,
like that's what you're trying to do here, and like we need to get to the point where our infrastructure is as good as theirs, and then look at the application side of things.
I think that's a good point. So like for the impossible trilemma, scalability, security, and decentralization, probably there has to be some compromise to be made at some point to make it work, right? So what do you think are the necessary compromise in your perspective?
Well, first of all, we talk about trilemma, where we can break physics, right? We can break quantum. So Janusz mentioned a lot of the overclaim in the space. Let's face it, there's a lot of things we are still work in progress, right?
Yeah.
Some are vision still, but take years away to really build that. So we've been actively working on the trust minimized bridge. I think Rootstock team is working on that as well, and a few other teams try to claim different proposals. But interestingly, we've been chatting with a lot of the institutions, a lot of Bitcoin whales as well. They actually don't like bridge. Right, there's a lot of interesting design choices we have to offer. Bridging is important. Some of them actually don't want that Bitcoin just away from their wallets at all, right? So that's the reason Babylon's approach with time lock is interesting. And we need to find ways to figure out for those institutions, like with the custody, even the semi-CDFI model, to provide the programmable trustless environment for the on-chain DeFi proposal as well. So the future of Bitcoin DeFi is not just based on, oh, we build everything decentralized and then sacrifice everything else and just don't care what the customer want. I believe in the beginning of the BitLayer journey, we were like just 100% trust minimized bridge, 100% Bitcoin finality, don't care about the engineering costs, don't care about the gas fees. That might be the route. But now we're getting more and more interesting feedback. People don't like bridges. Institutions looking at time lock kind of yield opportunities and so on. So I think the industry is getting pretty in this 10 cross route. We have a lot of retails. They actually don't care about a lot of things. They want to interesting on the yield. They want to speculate. That's happening with Ordinals already. They burned so much Bitcoin as gas fee to tap in all these shit coins with Ordinals. But guess what? That's what the community want. But that's not the future of Bitcoin layer 1, right? That's why we have all these layers we want to work on. But for institutional coming, especially after ETF, we are interfacing a huge amount of new clients, which have completely different risk appetite, right? Different kind of holding positions. So we kind of also iterating on how we design financial products with our ecosystem. We're giving feedback to the people. So one thing I've been saying as a hot take as well, we are eating the market share from Arbitrum Optimism. I actually have friends still working with them, and I know exactly what's happening over there. But I just don't like the fact, okay, we just copy paste what happened in Ethereum. I'd say just put on Bitcoin, it's gonna work. It doesn't work because it's different.
But that's what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
That's what everyone is, just forking the EVM and going after all the same apps and trying to put all the EVM applications on Bitcoin.
Most of them might fail, so that is. So okay, we have 4 minutes to go. So I would like to just ask the one last question. So just looking ahead, right? So make your bold prediction, and what do you see would happen in the Bitcoin ecosystem in the coming, let's say, just coming years?
Okay, so I will just talk about the Bitcoin layer 2 ecosystem. So I think maybe in the next bull run, in the next cycle, 90% of the Bitcoin layer 2 in this round will go zero. Yeah, but the next round, we are much more bullish on the technology side, the Bitcoin layer 2. Yeah. So this is what our insight. And in the next round, I think there will be maybe the 10 billions market cap of the Bitcoin layer 2s. Yeah.
So most of them might fail, but the remaining ones will go even bigger, right?
Because I think this round, most of the Bitcoin layer 2s, they don't have full experience in the ecosystem. They are not from technology side, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And Charlie?
My take is people are going to stop talking about Bitcoin layer 2s. We kind of don't talk too much about Bitcoin layer 2 anymore. It essentially is providing a new module feature for Bitcoin ecosystem, right? In terms of Bitcoin finality or Bitcoin staking, a few other things along the ways. But I think, and I hope, some interesting Bitcoin DeFi or dapps can become successful. Because honestly, right now, among all the things happening in the Bitcoin ecosystem, there's fairly speaking, no interesting, exciting use cases which really get a lot of adoption for users. I could argue less than 10 applications among all the Bitcoin layers actually hits over 1,000 users right now. So we are that early because when we talk about Bitcoin ecosystem, there's nobody actually use that, right? Compared to last year, there was so much people have so much excitement and on-chain transaction happening with Ordinals. We're not even close yet. I hope this upcoming 12 months we're gonna hit some interesting killer apps.
Yeah, we're still at a very early stage, so people are still figuring out and then finding the directions. But I think the Templeton investment in BitLayer is actually like an injection of confidence in the market, in this space. And thank you. Adrian.
Yeah, similar to what we were just saying. Yeah, in the case of Rootstock, we expect to see these technologies that we were just discussing evolving, coming to reality. But what the guys were saying about the use cases, and I think that's a very important thing. There are some valid use cases, like the Lightning Network is I think, with its pros and cons, it's a successful Bitcoin layer use case. It's basically solving a problem. Hopefully we see others being built on side chains, on rollups as well. But yeah, it's a long journey, and yeah, as I said before, it's great to see smart people now working on this space. There is a lot of work to do, definitely.
Thank you. Janusz.
Yeah, I'm really optimistic, actually. I think that a lot of these teams, like some of the ones up here, will hopefully figure out the solution to the two-way peg, creating more trust-minimized two-way peg mechanism, so that if I'm a user and I deposit my funds into one of these systems and it all blows up, I can hopefully get my funds back out. That'd be very nice. So I hope that teams build that. I ultimately think, though, that having these applications, like as bearish as I am on a lot of the current state and situation of this stuff, I think it's quite frankly, kind of insane. But there is a lot of demand for having BTC be the asset that all of these different on-chain economies are priced in. People don't typically want to do all of their on-chain trading and activity with these alternative assets that are not BTC, and I think there's a market opportunity there. So I think even getting the ecosystem even level with what's going on in Ethereum and other stuff will be enough of a market advantage to take some of the users away. But I think ultimately to scale this thing, we have to look past the just standard copy, paste, and play, build an EVM chain, throw an app on it, and hope users come to farm a token airdrop. I think we got to think better than that.
Thank you so much. I think we are definitely optimistic with caution, and then thank you for all of you, the builders. So that is how we really make progress in this domain. And thank you so much. Let's give a big round of applause for our panelists. Thank you. I want to take a picture together. Can you take a picture of us, please?